think the reason we're here is to share a little wisdom from the annals of this thing they call us legends and icons. So music is good. Music is my thing, but I'm preaching right now too, you know what I'm saying? And that's a whole nother thing right there, you know. It's been good. And I think that's where I landed because of him. I landed in that place. Because my grandmother said, "You're going to preach, boy, you're going to preach." And my mother and them used to try to make me preach when I was like 13, 14. And I said, "Mom, what I got to do not to preach?" She said, "Get out my house." So at 17, I forged her name and went into the service. Now, Uncle Sam, you're going to hear this. Don't try to take the benefits back now. It's all over. I done came in and I'm out already. So, and that's what started all of this, the preaching thing, but, you know, ran into the music. Because you got to understand now, I wasn't a musician coming out of New York. I wasn't trying to be a musician. I wasn't trying to be a rock star. It just so happened that in the military, now, you know, we kicked around in little high school bands and stuff like that, you know, the talent show type thing, you know. But other than that, no, music wasn't my thing. In the Army, I was getting ready to get out and go to back to school. I was an oxygen technician. I needed 2 more years to be an inhalation therapist. But I met a band in Colorado Springs, Colorado. That was the last tour of duty in the Army, Colorado Springs. And I met some guys who became my mentors because I've never seen my father. So I had a Frankenstein monster view of a person because, you know, I took little pieces from each male figure that I saw that I liked, not necessarily that it was good for me. But so I built the Frankenstein monster, never knowing the identity of my father or trying to see if I looked like him or did I act like him or, you know. So coming out of that into the military, something deep happened. I overseas, Panama Canal Zone, you know, it was like a holiday over there, but when we got back stateside, everything changed because everybody that had a day rank over you wanted to tell you what to do. So one sergeant would say, "Simpson, dig this hole." I dig the hole. The next guy come back, got a little more rank. He says, "Well, dig it this way." So I proceed, you know, I'm following orders. I dig it that way. The next guy comes, so I'm confused now. I'm saying, "Hold up, everybody." So I start punching people out. And I was losing a stripe at a time. And so stateside, the man says, "Look, why are you doing this?" I said, "Well, over there, long story short, they put me in a place called Cheyenne Shadows. It's a recreation center. Because my record was good. I'm a paratrooper, went to all the Recondo schools, you know. He wondered why I want to go in there and punching people in the face. Because over there, they didn't mess with you. You know, it was like a job. You go to job, when you're off. But over there, it was a whole different thing. So, long story short, let me fast forward. They put me in this place. I get a bass guitar, because I'm giving out bass guitars to the GIs that come in or after duty. And all the music that's being pumped in, after I'd clean up and everything, mop the floor, I had nothing to do until they got there. I'd listen, and I would play everything that was coming through the thing. So, you know, the same music played every day. So I got good at it, you know, because I was there for 2 years, just playing. So this girl comes out of the place, and she says, "Hey, you, come here." Now, I think I'm in trouble because I knew how to sham real good, right? I knew how to look like I was working one day, and I think I was busted. She said, "Come here." Took me into this room. There's this orchestra in there called the Tops and Blue Band. It was an Air Force thing. "We want you to play bass because this guy tells so-and-so." Fast forward. I said, "Well, I don't play bass." And she said, "You're a liar." I said, "I don't play no bass. I come in every day. You're playing everything that's coming through the thing." I said, "Well, yeah, I ain't got nothing else to do at that time." So, but fast forward, she took me in, and I started to punch her in the face because she was saying play an A. And I just hit something, hopefully trying to luck up on the thing. She said, "Come on, man, stop bullshitting around." And you know, then I said, "Look," I got up and I was angry. I got up to her and said, "I told you I didn't play no bass." She said, "You're serious, ain't you?" I said, "Yes, I'm serious." So then she began to teach me the neck and the notes. And I played with the band. That was the first electrical instrument they had at that particular time in Colorado. The way I learned to play bass was through this transition from giving out guitars to actually playing and her teaching me. Okay, and from there, the NCO Club used to have this band called Crystal Touch. And I used to go down and watch them all the time and ask the bass player questions. And he used to, show me stuff on the side of the stage. He was real arrogant. And as it went on, he taught me a lot of stuff. She taught me a lot of stuff. But my ears were the key, because I could listen and pick up anything. I was playing Korea's Spain, without no knowledge of theory or anything. All of that. And from there, let's fast forward. The guy that taught me that was in the band, I took his job because he was arrogant. Played with him a little while, and they asked me to come to Atlanta. These are the guys I was telling about, my mentors. Rick Flores, Lil John McCauley, and Ron Flores is the reason of this makeup right here. They were musicians, and they taught me a lot too about the theory, I guess, or the seasoning of how to play bass, because I used to overplay. I tried to play every note that I could play, and I was messing up the conversation with the other musicians, so they taught me how to stay in the pocket. Okay, got to Atlanta, went to Atlanta with these guys from Colorado Springs. Joined this band, Crystal Touch. Now you gotta figure, I'm 20, 21, maybe, and they bring me to Atlanta. I'm living in their house, Crystal Touch, and that's where the journey began. Went a few years with them. I used to come out of coughing, blood and all that vampire stuff and all that stuff like that. Fast forwarding, still learning. Every musician that they would hire, like guitar player, taught me a little something. So I was like a sponge. Anybody that I was around, I would pick up stuff from, and just until they taught me where the pocket was, I was just fooling around. I was having fun. I wasn't thinking about no band or no big stage or anything. Long story short, I departed from them because of some issues. The house got robbed and stuff like that, and I just got my bass and started walking. A lady named Barbara Hall said, hey, Jason Bryant on Campbellton Road looking for a bass player. And I laughed because I said, nah, man, I'm through with that. I'm going home. I have my daughter with me. I said, I'm going to go back to Brooklyn, go back to school, all that. That wasn't his plan. Met Jason and them, James, and all of them. I went and auditioned and got the job. Now, I couldn't play much bass, but my stage presence was overwhelming. And that's why Jason hired me, because of the excitement that I would bring on the stage. I'm total excitement. So I got with them. 2 years after that, I was standing in Madison Square Garden. To go to Madison Square Garden, my hometown, New York, it was unbelievable. I believe I was in shock, actually, because I took the record home to my mother and my brother. Said, hey, Ma, I got a record out. But everybody had a record out. Everybody had a little something out. And they said, okay, yeah. So I gave them the record, played it for them. They sat there and they said, oh, yeah. Went back to Atlanta. Then it happened that we were going to Madison Square Garden. So they started pumping the record up in New York. So my brother's sitting there and he's listening. He's listening to the song. He said, where have I heard this song before? He goes get the record, the little record that I get, the 45. He put it on, and they were pumping it up, S.O.S. band, Madison Square Garden, Atlanta's own, and all of this stuff. My brother, he almost went off. I'm talking, seriously went off. Because he started hollering to my mother, this is your son. This is your son. My mother was sitting right in front, in the first row. And my family was sitting right in the first row. And it was overwhelming. It was unbelievable. That was a feeling that, the only thing that overshadowed that feeling was Jesus Christ. That's how large that feeling was, to be standing in Madison Square. I had gone to Madison Square. I used to sneak in and see shows and all that kind of stuff. Never would have imagined and standing and my mother is sitting right there looking at me. When I joined the band, Jason Bryant was the forerunner. Mary wasn't even that much in the front because Jason was like an octopus, man. He could play like 3 keyboards at one time and be doing and singing and all of this. So he was, and I was impressed by Jason. And the rest of them, James and them, me being the youngest and inexperienced. I'm inexperienced because I know these cats been playing nightclubs for a long time. I'm just fresh off the block. You know, so I was a little intimidated, and they would want me to sing, and I remember I'd be way away from the mic, and they'd be saying, man, move up to the mic, move up to the mic. I just, you know, I couldn't take it. And so it took me a long time to get over that fear of the microphone, but Jason Bryant was the one that started me to even writing, because he said, write real well. And I think he still is writing real well, but I learned a lot from him writing. I was the youngest until Bruno came. That's the lead guitarist. And the band was devastating because I've never played with anything as professional as that and consider myself to be a part of that and adding to that. That was another one of those feelings like, wow, you know. My relationship with James Earl Jones, it didn't start off good. I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand it because you talking about meticulous. James was cross every T, dot every I. He was the most orderly person I ever met in my life. He took his time. This was James every day. And see, that was my youth again, judging folk. You know, James used to have, when he used to do his tapes, they were all numbered and everything was numbered, it was neat. And I used to call him Needy. Hey, Needy. And everything was numbered and everything. It wasn't until he left the group that I missed who he really was. Because even though he was like that, James would give you anything. He would help you with anything. He would listen to anything you got to say. And he's going to tell you the truth about how he feels in your face, looking in your eyes. James didn't talk behind your back. He didn't allow nobody else to talk to him about you unless you were in the presence of all. And he defend righteousness. What I learned from James is this. The very thing that I hate about him is now the stuff that I use. Because he'll bring you back into view. He'll bring you back online. Look at, man, that ain't worth even getting upset about, man. Let that work out on its own. You stay focused. You know what I'm saying? So I told him this maybe a few months ago. We've been hanging out so hard lately. Me, James, my wife, and we've been hanging out real hard lately. And it had to be the Spirit of God to bring us back face to face. Because I had to tell Mr. James, I actually apologized years later for not liking you for no reason of my comprehension, you know? But now our relationship is golden. That brother checks on me. I check on him. And he's been through some things this year and last year that were horrific. You know, he lost some people, his family and stuff. A strong brother, man. I really look up to him because he was the first one that was executed. And he didn't skip a beat. He didn't skip a beat. Next thing I know, James was working at the music stores and stuff. He was at the James just on commercials and stuff, and just happy. I said, wow. So yeah, our relationship is solid. Some of the other musicians that inspired me was Stanley Clarke for one, George Duke, Shaka Khan, you know. I'm talking all of them basically. But the main figure was Earth, Wind, and Fire itself, the unit that was our church when we didn't go to church. You know, keep your head to the sky, ask the master why, you know what I'm saying? So inspire, and I would put on Earth, Wind, and Fire and listen to it all night. My wife and I would sit, when we met, we sit and listen to it and go deep into and hear all the little parts that they bury under the stuff. We have taken stuff out that people never heard in the song. So yeah, they just do something. When I can be sleepy, driving long distance, and I put Earth, Wind, and Fire on, it's just like this. That energy is still there. The thing that inspired me the most, or the one that inspired me the most, is Maurice White's Earth, Wind, and Fire. Verdi White, I wasn't playing bass or thinking about music then, and I saw him at NYCC in New York, Community College. And the dude was, you know, he was very animated. And from that day, I think that I was indwelt with that, what I saw him, and he was, and then when I found myself actually playing, I kind of picked up on his style. That's where my energy came from. I mean, we both would look different, but the energy, you know, he was, I'm talking about through the whole show, he was just bouncing, and that's my energy. And what made me comfortable was the wisdom to listen and apply myself to what I heard by somebody that was more seasoned than I was. It made me very comfortable because I was hard to get along with. Because I was just having fun. So there wasn't a really thorough seriousness with it yet, because I was having fun and I was getting money to play. You know, I was like, okay, I like this, you know what I'm saying? So, but I became comfortable with the fact of after people would respect, they'd say this to me. Let me say, Fred Wesley said this. He says, John, you don't play much bass. He said, but what you play. And that was a huge compliment coming from Fred Wesley, because he'd been with boys that can, and I said, okay. And then that even made me more comfortable with staying where I belong. Because I'm not a soloist. I don't do a lot of soloing, but I could play 4 notes that would take you all the way down to wherever you want to go. Working with Leon Silvers was like a dream. Being that, you know, ooh, child, things, you know, and all those stuff. And after dancing and listening to all those songs, then sitting in front of him. And because they were giants to us when we were, you know, high school and doing the steps and stuff, you know, so. And when I met him, man, dude was so sincere, you know what I'm saying? He was, that was like trembling stuff. I would get, you know, the goosebumps and all that kind of stuff. The dude had some knowledge. He knew how to put stuff together, which taught me a lot of stuff, you know, how to write. You know, and if you look at the albums, I got 4 to 5 songs on each album. And that comes from just watching, listening, grasping what they said. Then I'd go, because when we were in the band and they would go out to party, I'd stay and write. So when the producer came, or when they knew the producer was coming, everybody would try to start writing. I had a whole box of tapes when they got there. He said, you say like that? You don't, just take the box home, just, you know, that kind of thing right there. So meeting people like Leon Silvers and Gene Dozier and who else was it? Even Jam and Lewis. You know, Jam and Lewis came to Clarence, sit them down to work on the album after 2. It was a snowstorm. They got snowed in, but they had a gig with Prince. Prince fired them. That was the beginning of Jam and Lewis. S.O.S. was their beginning. That's right. Had it not snowed and they missed the gig with Prince, it would have been someone else. But they got snowed and said, well, let's go. Clarence sent them some more money. They went on for it, and boom. That was it. Those brothers, and they had been around for a while with the time. So I looked up to them from the time, you know, and they were like, they were the epitome of cool. When we walked in and we went to meet them somewhere, and I'll never forget, it was this mantelpiece, and they was like props. They was like, and we walked in, and I was too young to even realize. I said, man, them dudes stuck up, man. Them dudes stuck up, man. Who they think they are, you know what I'm saying? But I'm S.O.S, you know, all this stuff. But when they got in the studio, it was business. It was business. They'd laugh a little bit after the business. And it just to work with them, just to see them work, I was gathering knowledge. Gathered it until I perfected my own style, if you want to say. And they were technicians, man, and they worked together so good, because Jam would come in, they programmed the drum machine, he'd lay the bass line, the keyboards, and then Terry would come in and do the vocals. So it was like, beautiful workmanship.
Wow.
Beautiful workmanship. And everything sounded good, everything. Now, I must say, a lot of my influence is in that, the mood of my bass and stuff like that. Also, Terry taught me how not to strike the bass hard all the time. Because I was like raw elephant feet. He said, do you make love to your girlfriend like that all the time? And I thought about it. He said, sometimes you just gotta, you know. And I got upset with him because I thought it was an attack against me, you know. But after it soaked in, and I saw him work, for instance, when he did For Your Love. After I saw him play, because I was playing it, he said, let me show you something, man. He played it. And when he did it, I listened, and I said, okay. I didn't do it at the studio that night, but when I went home, I mimicked what I saw, and I felt what he was saying. Sometimes you have to let the electronics and you have to let the engineers work for you. That's why your amp on stage is supposed to be low so they have control over it. So he taught me sensitivity of striking the notes, because it's like beep, boom, beep, beep, because I was going, you know, then he said, no, and after I got home and I felt it and I was playing it with the track, I said, oh. So I applied that to some other things in my writing. Sigidi brought that song, to Take Your Time. Sigidi, when he came to produce us, he came with this song, right? Now, I know James told you this already. None of us didn't like that Take Your Time. Boom, doom, 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 doom. We said, man, what is that, man? Doom, 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 doom. Sigidi, and he made us, and he kept doing, and we just started doom, 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 doom. Put the song together. We still didn't like it. Song went out. Bunnie said, we were in Lamar's Regal Room on Camden Road. Bunnie says, we leading back up to the Madison Square Garden. Bunnie says, are you guys pack your bags for about 4 weeks and meet me at my house at 7 p.m.? So we packs, we get there. It's this great big giant bus out, the luxury bus with the TVs on it, you know, and everything. And she said, you guys are going to Madison Square Garden. I said, oh my God. Take Your Time started sounding kind of good. You know what I'm saying? But then after we kind of manipulated it away from the studio version on stage, oh, it got real good. It got real good. Mm-hmm. And so, yes. And the only thing we didn't do, we didn't take our time. and we didn't do it right.
Tell me what you said.
Had I had more wisdom, I wouldn't have deteriorated moments that could have been larger now. I was in the thicket of it. Now the older guys, I don't know their story, but mine is, I was having too much fun and not paying attention to the business end. You know, so not relying on other people, but just didn't care how it went. I was just on the ride. This is nice, y'all, you know that. So yeah, we didn't do it right because we weren't at that level of, I wasn't at that level of wisdom, and I didn't have no vision for the stardom thing yet because I was just liking to play and write. Just play and write. That's all I did all day was write. Go out and eat, come back and write. Go to sleep, come back and write. That was my job. And I thought music was my life until my wife cleared that up. She said, no, music is a part of your life. She said, I'm your life. Going back to my neighborhood, Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy. When I left Bedford-Stuyvesant, I was flying pigeons. So you figure they looking at Soul Train one day and I pop up. And when I went home and my mom told them I was coming, everybody was at the house already. The whole block just standing around waiting for me to pull up in the car. And I pulled up, man, it was like I was the president or the king of England or something, because when I got out the car, that was a feeling that brought tears to my eyes, because when I left home, I was like just a pigeon flying little dude that nobody would mess with. From a club, here we go again, to Madison Square Garden, and then nothing was less than that. Everything was like the Palladium in L.A., the Olympia Amphitheater L.A., and all of those places, and you seeing thousands of people, you know, and you tell them what to do and they do it. That was like, I see now why some people lose control with their egos, because that's an ego gripper. When you go out there, man, and I remember in Texas, I wrote the song Have It Your Way, and we said, din, 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 and the people screamed so loud. I forgot I was playing, because I'd written that for them to, that thing sucked it out of me. We worked on high hopes for about 24 hours on the bass line. That's what they mean when they say meticulous. Beep, 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 down, down. Everything had to be precise. Roll it back. He even told me one time, we're going to wear out the tape, man. You're just going to strip the tape. Because we was going over and over again. But then it taught me discipline. It taught me the discipline to say, okay, when you're giving to people from the blood that God has given you in your music, it's supposed to be that way. They deserve it, because my concept is musicians solve problems. You can either solve them or you can create them. And my duty was that. Because we did things in the studio, we said, okay, we can't do this while we're doing this song, because, you know, I felt that what comes out of you is going to go into the tape to a certain extent. So it was certain vibes that we wouldn't allow into the studio when we were doing the music. Okay? You smoke the reefer, go down the hall, around the corner, outside, down by the stairs. You know, we don't want the smoke to get in the, you know what I'm saying? Because I believe that this thing is sensitive, and people feel your sensitivity if it's real. They, you know, fake when you hear it and feel it. Remember that? They trying, but you know. So yeah, the difference in my life now is realizing the chance that I had, that the chance that was given to me by being able to live that when other people dream about it and they work at it and work at it, and it just walked right into it by mistake almost. Just trying something from a lady said, go and just go audition. I said, I'll go and audition, but I ain't staying here, I'm going to New York. But then Jason and them, they were the Santa Monica band. They were another level of musician than I'd ever played with. And it was like, okay. And they let me in the band. And these cats, I was like, I used to tiptoe around them cats, James and all them. And whatever they tell me, I'd listen because I felt that like I was, I felt like I didn't belong. Mm-hmm. Because it was some of the stuff, I got seasoned along with Jason and them and with the Crystal Touch. I learned all around the circuit, the chitlin circuit. I learned different fields and stuff. But they used to have one field that I still don't have, and that's that bebop jazz thing. Because Jason and them would be like, and I'd be like, I'm totally lost, y'all. I just take the bass off and get here. You know how to play that. Come on over here and play that, Not that I wasn't able to try to learn anything, but I wasn't writing that. It wasn't a part of my being, so I just stayed not where I was comfortable with what I knew. Now, I could fake it real good, but when you faking it. Clarence Avant. Our first meeting with Clarence Avant, I'm a very likable guy in any situation because I'm sincere. I ain't gonna put up no pretense, but when I met Clarence Avant, he immediately fell in love with me. He gave me a sterling silver, solid silver bracelet with a black onyx in it. He just took it off. I said, I like that, bro. He said, you want it? He said, here, take it. Gave it to me. And him and I used to have conversations. We used to laugh. I used to make him laugh. But at that time, I had no idea who Clarence Avant was. We took pictures together. We got pictures with us together and everything. Still didn't know who he was. And see, that was the thing that I look back on now and I say, I wish I had paid just a little more attention. And I blame it on things that I didn't pay attention, but it wasn't right. Listen to music today, the music of today, the body of okay, now, let's talk about Temptations and all that. They used to tell stories. Now, there's no stories no more. It's just straight out what they want and who you are, and everything now. So, like I said, you can create problems or you can solve them. I think that some of the songs today are creating a lot of problems, okay? I just turned 70 in September. And I'm working on a showcase now, and it's called What You Missed. And so I have a concept. My name is John Alexander Simpson III. So, yeah, I can say this. I tried to get back with the band. I said, hey, y'all, let me come help you. I got some ideas that can take us to another level. Matter of fact, I said, let's do a reunion. Because we got all these original members still alive. But it didn't work. And I'll let that be another story. So I'm sitting around. So bing, the light goes on. JAS, just another solution. So that's what featuring original bassist John A. Simpson. JAS, just another solution. I couldn't get with that for whatever reason. They didn't want to try to do a reunion. So I got another solution for y'all. Because I want to show them what they missed. If you look at the albums, I wrote basically 4 songs per album. When they say that they didn't have producers in the band at that time, it may have been right. But there were some in the band. But like I said, I didn't pay attention enough to present myself business-wise enough for anyone to notice. Even though the songs were on the album, politically, the producers, it was their time. And when it's your time, you take advantage of your time. And so I wasn't upset with that. But there's a lot that was missed that's inside of me that the world has to feel. You know, and so I've been working on, I got 1,000 songs, but specially selected songs to get this thing out. And I believe by the power that's in me, it's going to turn some things around. Like you said, it's going to be the music that you know is going to solve some problems. And so I'm setting up a show to do about a 40, 45-minute show in Atlanta. And it's going to be phenomenal. I know, because I've written from the depths of my pain in the past and all the stuff I did to cause my decline. And now the people need to hear what they missed. What it's like traveling with these people, this S.O.S. band, it was, to me, I was silly. I used to be running through the bus, running back, you know. I was like a kid with new toys. To be on this luxurious bus, TVs, everything, games, the lounge in the back, you know, and to step off the bus and people see you. They know you somebody. You know, it was just, we S.O.S. I gotta get an autograph, gotta get an autograph. So, you know, that was like, it was a feeling of height. And I didn't particularly mess that up, but it's some things that I would have done so much different, you know, and felt different about. What I would have done different was listen better to the older cats that were telling me stuff. Because, you know, I was a hothead. And the guys that brought me to Atlanta, they calmed me down a whole lot, because I'd punch you in the face in a minute. Over nothing. And the boy, one of the brothers said, man, you just gave me punching people in the face, man, because you don't agree with what they're saying. And they helped me get out of that. That was a New York thing, you know. That was a Bedford-Stuyvesant thing. so, because he said, somebody gonna kill you, you gonna punch the wrong person, you know. But I said, yeah, but. So I would have kept my hands to myself and enjoyed the ride that was before me. And I enjoyed it, but like you said, not as I could have had I just, but then who's to say, it may not have been time for that then. You know, you had to grow into that, you know? Because like I said, I wasn't looking for that. That's why when the band executed me, my wife was with me, took me there, and then went in, and another guy was up there on bass. I said, oh, this how it is? Okay, go on. It didn't bother me, because even though we were the stardom and all of that, and the big stage, Soul Train, and all of the other things, Solid Gold, my heart wasn't connected to it that deep. Now, the other brother that was executed with me, it did something to him. Did something to him. You know, you just go in and all of a sudden you're not there no more. Man, I went, started playing with other groups. Back on Campbellton Road at that, you know. I transitioned, when leaving the band, I had a dull spot. I can say that it didn't bother me, but somewhere it did, but it didn't overwhelm me. I think about it and then, because I'm like this, if you don't want me around, I don't want to be there. So it devastated me a little, to the point that I sat down for a while. And then with the encouragement of my loved ones, I got with a few bands and started playing, you know, and it was good. It was good. Matter of fact, I didn't miss it because I didn't talk about it. I never talked about S.O.S. outside to people. Even when I was with S.O.S., I would never go and say, I'm with S.O.S. I didn't do that. What would I like you to know about my journey with S.O.S.? This journey was a journey that one can imagine sitting down with a bowl of cornflakes looking at Soul Train as a kid. And then one day I'm on Soul Train. Right there. And then all the people that knew me, it was it was large. It was huge. And today when my wife and I somewhere and our song come on, and my wife would say, well, they don't even know you standing in here. And that's a feeling that, and then you see people talking about, you see people bumping to it. And I'm standing there and I'm saying, wow, bass player sitting next to you, to myself. But to see them react, that's a part of the journey that's one of the greatest feelings at this stage now. And then we were somewhere and we were doing something, we were getting the credit stuff together and stuff, and we told the guy who he was, but he was too young to know who the S.O.S band was. And the song happened to come on. I said, that's us right there. He said, I know that song. I said, yeah, that's me right there. And yeah, my involvement with the church. How did I even start preaching? When I was on my downside of the drugs, my wife's mother told her, you come home. Because I had killed everything. I was gone. And my wife said, Mom, I can't leave my husband. She said, bring him too. We went to Perry, Georgia. I rehabbed, actually, in her mother's house. Because she was a church-going woman. They went to church. And I used to sit on her stairs and get high. Still getting high. Her mother used to work a Feed My Sheep ministry. And I used to hear them talking about the church and people in the church. And her mother said, go over to the church and put 2 of them chickens in the sink for me. So I go over to the church. And I told the Lord, out of my heart, I said, Lord, you know what? I could really help these people if I was clean. And that's a whole nother chapter. We ain't gonna go into that, but he cleaned me up. He cleaned me up, left me with a few gifts. I then put a choir together, and I would record the music because they didn't have musicians down there with that caliber in Perry. So I record the music. My wife and her cousins, we put together a little group and went in. They was having a membership roundup. We sang that Sunday. I wrote some songs, and we went in and sang them. Now, you got to figure, now we're in a Christian Methodist Episcopal church. All them drum machines and stuff like that, they wasn't used to that. But after we sang, other people started coming. Can we join the choir? Can we join the choir? Long story short, 12 years, a choir that we had put together and became quite popular all the way up to Atlanta. And in that 12 years, God was messing with me, telling me to preach. And I was saying, no, you don't want me, because I was still directing choir, but I was still getting high. Okay? I was still getting high. So when I said I was clean, that came later. But the 12 years that I did that choir, I was getting high. The dope house was right out the back door of the church across the street. Okay? So I'd leave out while they was doing devotion, get my package. I wouldn't bring it in church, put it in the car. Choir, people getting saved, people getting changed. And so that thing, come as you are thing, that I'm with that because I came. I heard him say, come. Okay, I got my pipe. But I'm coming now. I came. The process went on, man. But that day that I said I could help your people, Lord, if I was clean, my wife, I have to tell you that story. And he cleaned me up, called me to preach. But before I got clean, they used to say, we need you to go on up and let the bishop lay hands on you, and we're going to give you a church and all of that. I wasn't clean. I said, I ain't going till I'm clean. Long story short, he cleaned me up. My wife can tell you, I cried from the door You know, you had to walk up in the procession. I cried from the door to that thing and then gave birth to a church called Temple of Miracles. Where I was in New York, it was Miracle Temple, the church that I grew up in. And the bishop said, what do you want to name the church? I said, Temple of Miracles. I just turned it around because I'm on the other side of life now. The first Sunday we had church, 40 people joined. 40 people joined. I was prophesying, and see, you know, people talk about prophesying, they talk about all this stuff, but it's real. It's real. When you believe and you accept it, it's real. I done prophesied to my family first. And I was making $790 at a place called Lithonia Lighting. And the Spirit told me, I need you to come off the job and I need you in the field. So I heard this voice. Now, either I'm crazy or the crack done messed me up or whatever. I heard this voice standing in Lithonia Lighting. So I went, I said, okay, what I'll do is I'll put my name on the layoff list. You know, you volunteer to lay off and they'll give you some time off. And long story short, my name was the name before the cutoff, which means, he says, I didn't tell you to be laid off. He says, I need you to take off. I went home and told my wife and my mother, the Lord said for me, the Spirit of the Lord said for me to come off the job, and he would take care of me. And my mother-in-law said, John, did the Lord really say that? I said, as far as I know, Mama, he said that. And after I came off that job, I never had to work another job, taking care of the church. We raised up members actively, maybe 500 to 1,000 people. And it was beautiful because I'm music, watch this, I'm S.O.S, bass player, started the church. So, you know, everybody going, come and see the earth. But there was deliverance going on. There was restoration going on. When we had revival, people were converted. People were saved. You know, so the church thing, 20, 25 years now. We've been doing it. There's another story to that, but then that's a whole nother I got books. I got books. Hey y'all, you can watch the full interview on Tim Talk.